Hi, everyone. I'm Colleen. As you can see, I have a very special guest here with us today. Hi, Cindy. Thanks for joining us. I'm so glad you're here.
Hi, I'm happy to be here too. I'm excited and I'm looking forward to what's going to come out of this little interview.
Right? We don't script our videos, so I have a little bit of a plan of what we're going to talk about today, but who knows where it'll go.
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know, I think most of you know who Cindy is, but Cindy is the Lady of the Forest 444. She has her own YouTube channel and TikTok channel that started the whole thing. So Cindy has her own channel, and then we have a channel together called Out of This World 55. And we've been friends for 29 years and spiritual journey partners. So Cindy and I did videos for about a year together, a little more than a year together. And then everything ended at the end of September. And Cindy kind of disappeared off of, well, not kind of, Cindy disappeared off of TikTok and YouTube. And you guys have been sending Cindy so much love in the comments on my videos, asking me to say, and I've been passing it along.
Yes,
Tell
she
Cindy
has.
how much she's loved and ask if she's ever coming back and what's going on with Cindy. And you've been commenting on old Out of This World videos, and I'm sure they've been all over your channel too, Cindy.
Yep.
So why don't you catch folks up a little bit on where you've been and what's happening now?
Yeah, so back in September of 2024, um yeah, I received an angel message that said that that was it. That channel was done. Both Lady of the Forest 444 and Out of This World, that there were
Oh,
no more messages going to be shared on those channels. And I
we
didn't,
were
people ask
floored.
me like, what's happening next? Where are you going next? And I really had no clue. Now, there was a little bit because my life has been quite tumultuous, just sort of dealing with my own karmic cycles and running through those. And if you're not familiar, the way that I use karma is the way that my angels use karma. And they talk about karma just as being things that you've signed up to experience that you haven't fully experienced or haven't healed from yet. So for me, there's just a lot of responsibility karma. Like there's just a lot of people in my life that I'm helping and I just yeah, there's just a lot that I'm doing. And so when when the channel closed in September, all of that kind of ramped up. There was a lot that was
Yeah.
going on in my personal life throughout October, November, December into January, and still going on to now, but it is in comparison back to October, it is much um, reduced from what it was. So in a way, I'm grateful that I didn't have the added responsibility of having to
Yeah.
provide these messages. So it was a blessing in disguise, you know, one of those.
Mhm.
And yeah, so but I didn't think that it was going to come back on because they never sort of gave that indication.
Nope.
Yeah, exactly. Like they
They
did
did
not.
not.
It was like this is over.
We're done.
Which I have experienced before because in this whole journey with my angels, there have been phases, like specific phases of my learning and growth journey along this that have come to abrupt ends and that's it, and I never returned. So it wasn't unusual that that happened.
Yeah.
However, over the last month or so, so we're like mid-February now, um, I've been feeling this sort of energy that like, I wonder, like it feels like there's messages coming again.
Mhm.
And so I just sort of sat with that and I was like, you know, kind of talking to my spirit team, to my angels, and like, okay, what's happening here? And yeah, then just a few days ago, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I was like, okay, it's today.
I know, and you told me on a walk, and I was so excited.
Yes. Yeah, and so I channeled the latest message out in the forest. Now, the change is that before I was using my pendulum and getting messages beforehand, and then I would write them out and I would bring them out to the forest with me and read them. And now we're sort of skipping all that and I'm live channeling in the forest. So that has been something that's changed from last fall when I was doing it.
Yep. So, for if anybody's watching this that hasn't seen it yet in their notifications, there's a new video on Lady of the Forest 444 with a new angel message from Cindy. And yeah, and you're live channeling. Well, I mean, I over our years, I've seen you do that before, but you
Yes.
haven't done it on Lady of the Forest 444. You've even done it for Patreon, I think,
Yeah,
but
I
you
think
haven't done it for Lady of the Forest 444. So both of us, I just posted a video too about how my whole journey to channeling, and they want to just come through like live now, just
yeah.
no pendulum and no, like what's different for you, because I watched your video, of course, the minute you posted it. And there's isn't that buffer. Like usually you would do your channeling with the pendulum and then write it out on cards, right? And then go out into the forest to record reading it from the card. So you already know what the message is
Yes.
when you're reading it. And you always like the energy comes through and everything, but still you knew what the message was. So the difference with
Yes.
this, right, is that trust factor of like, what are they going to say?
Exactly. Yeah, and not knowing what, like, so when I had the message ahead of time, I could think a little bit about, okay, how has this related to my life? How have I had experience with this? And I could just loosely sort of have a few things to talk about afterwards. Now, sometimes that didn't happen because sometimes I had, like, it was like, I don't even know what to say after this.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to leave this.
Yeah.
Whereas now I don't have that. Like, now it's like I've just received the message and there I am. So, yeah, so that it's very raw and
Yeah.
very in the moment when it's happening, which is very powerful too.
Well, I'll tell you, because I mean, I used to be able to feel your messages in that, but that one you just posted, could you ever feel it coming through you? Like the
Yeah.
joy just bubbling through you while you were
Yeah.
delivering it and after. Like I definitely noticed the difference. And like also with my new experience now with channeling Big Bertha, and that I talked in my last video about the feeling of the love energy. For me, it's different. It's like this blanket, kind of like this warm blanket coming through me. I understand feeling it while you're channeling,
Yeah.
and while I'm watching you, it's bubbling up in me too. And I'm sure it was in all of you viewers while you're watching it, you can feel the joy.
Yes.
So there's that. It's even more genuine.
Hmm.
I know that like there's a trust factor in there of doing it right on camera. I mean, you're still not really live, like I suppose.
Well, exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
you're
I mean, I
recording
can
it, but
always,
still, you can always not post it.
exactly.
I haven't done that yet. There's nothing that Big Bertha has said that I have not posted, but I guess there's that. But still, anyway, it's very genuine doing it just live like that.
Yeah.
And I just love
Well, thank you.
it. So do you think you're gonna do a little bit of both, or have they told you like pendulum's done, or
They they haven't told me, right? Because they're very gentle. They're angels.
they're not like ripping the soother away?
No, and I was kind of describing this to some people the other day that I feel like my angels are these um herding dogs, the border
Yeah,
collies.
yeah.
And so I'm in this field and there's a great big open gate, which is live channeling. And I'm running around this field with my pendulum and my mat. And the border collies, my angels, have been trying to get me to make this decision to go through the gate.
Oh my goodness.
And
Oh my
And
God,
I'm
that's
like
such a
running over
great.
here going, no, not red, no, not yet. And I'm still in my pendulum. And then they come over to this side. And I'm like, okay, and I'm going over there. Because what happened too with this is like I've been using, because I haven't been doing messages out in the forest for Lady of the Forest, when I am channeling messages for myself or channeling message for other people, I'm I've been using my phone. So I just record on my phone. And then, especially since January, my iPhone now automatically converts things into like it gives me a transcript.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So easy. Like, why would I sit here and have to write out by hand all of these things? So I was thinking, well, how am I going to do this now? Like, I don't want to go back to having to handwrite these, but I'm using my phone to record, so I can't have it. You know what I mean? So
It
all of
can't
these,
be my cheat sheet. Yeah.
exactly. So all these logistical problems were showing up, and like the border collie angels are there. There's a solution to
Yeah.
this. You see that big gate right there? You just walk through. And I'm like resisting. No, no, I like my pendulum. And so, yeah. So in trying to figure out all those logistics, I was like, okay, fine. I will just walk through the gate. And so, because it answers all of those logistical problems are done.
Yep.
And it's so easy. I just walk out, I find a beautiful place in the forest, I set up my camera, and away we go. So,
And another part of the like not problem, but anyway, what was starting to get too busy for you was a bunch of the prep. So at least there's that whole part is eliminated, right? Like now you just have
exactly.
to go, you don't have to channel it, write it out. So there's that. That analogy is awesome. Do you follow any on Instagram? I see these people who have sheep and their videos about the border collies
Yes. I've
herding.
seen a few. Like I don't like
Oh, like for
follow
some
them
reason,
or anything,
well,
but I've
I
seen
watched a couple, and of course, my feed ended up full of them then for a while, you know. But it's exactly like that too. It's like, oh. No, they're not going, and the border collies go back around. That's so great. I
exactly.
love
So it was very gentle. And like I said, they're not pushing me to do anything. This is my journey. But they're definitely encouraging in a certain direction.
and they're like nipping at your heels, like that's what the border collies do. Like with things like, your iPhone changed and just
Yes.
making it, you know what I mean? Making it
Well, exactly. And the channeling, like
for you.
you think it was fast trying out of this world. It is so fast now when I'm using my pendulum that like I would have to rewind almost every word, because it's too fast for me to hand write now, you know?
Oh,
So yeah,
you're
this
pausing all the time anyway.
this just solves it all.
That's amazing. I was thinking that actually, because you have been over since, and I have heard you
Yes.
channeling that fast because you've been over to my place. Cindy does, I
Yes.
get private readings at my house. And I know how fast it is because I was thinking about recording this video. And I was thinking, by the way, I didn't tell you at the beginning, I don't think. We're going to try and, I think Cindy's going to channel a message for us at the end of this video.
Yep.
We asked her angels, and they said that they would like to bring a message for you at the end. But I've already thought about it whether I was going to be able to type it out, and I think I'm just going to have to type it out like I did in our
Yeah, yeah.
videos. I don't think I'm going to be able to do that. I'm just going to have to remember what they said because I don't think I can type fast enough to keep up
Yeah,
with you because it's coming through so fast and
it
so
is.
strong. That's amazing. I'm gonna put you on the spot here because I didn't tell you at the beginning. I just thought of this, but I was gonna ask this. Right near the end of the Out of This World videos, like in the second last one or so, you mentioned that there might be a book coming, that they had said that there was going to be a book that you were gonna channel. And has there been anything more on that, or did they kind of?
Well, like I said, my life kind of
Yes,
did
yes.
that in the fall. And so no, there was no time, like no time. And so it hasn't happened yet. And I do feel that it's coming, but it's even not now. Like now I'm returning to doing these messages. And so yeah, I don't know when that's going to happen, but I do feel like it is still there. It is still in the potentials.
Okay. Do you think are you back like because you were what were you? Were you weekly, about weekly on
Yeah, it
Lady
was
of the
about
Forest?
once a week. Yeah.
Do you think you're going back to that now?
That's sort of what I have in mind.
Yeah,
Um,
if they do.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's basically this is all spirit led, so
Yeah.
it's whatever ends up happening. But
Yeah,
that's what I'm anticipating.
I was gonna say that like all three of our channels have been completely spirit led, right? Like we're just doing okay, whatever you tell us that we're doing next. But I just wonder what you had in mind. And because I was just asking you on our walk, like, you're by the way, like I just because the comments are gonna blow up with asking whether you're okay. She was saying about responsibility, like it's stuff going on around you that you have to help with and take care of,
Yes.
that's been going
Yes.
on. And like some of it has settled down a little bit and been taken care of, and that book is closed. Like not all the books I know by any means, but because that's what I was saying to you on our walk too. That I wondered if anything was going to start up again because, like not that everything's over. I know for you still got responsibility going on, but some of it has slowed down. So
Yeah.
I guess they're just like enough has slowed down to leave time for you to do the channel. And then
Yeah.
maybe, when things slow down, when another one of the books closes or whatever, finishes, then maybe we'll get our book
Yeah.
that you were talking about.
And I think there's that moving into this channeling without my pendulum is
Mhm.
part of that process too. Because the book I don't think was ever going to be channeled with my pendulum. Like my first book was channeled with my pendulum.
Yeah.
And that, as you know, is a bit of a laborious
And it
process.
took forever.
So yeah, I think that this is always going to be this way.
Yeah, because this way you could use a voice to text generator
Yeah,
and just do it that way.
yeah,
Cool. Well, we'll see when that comes. I'm sure
yeah.
it'll be announced on your channel. So, the other thing I wanted to talk about was like, this is Colleen Walks the Talk, this channel. So, we talk about practical tips and tricks or whatever for how we live, how we apply spirituality into our lives. Or I talk about how I apply it into my life. And I am sure that the audience would like to get to know you a little bit better because that's one thing, like in your videos and our videos, like there's less getting to know Cindy because you were the channel. So a lot of the time when you're talking, you're doing the channel. So I'd like to talk a little bit
Yes.
about, let's talk about you. um, I'm going to put you on the spot. All the things like your channels have been like mine. Big Bertha is often giving people exercises and things to do and instructions and daily things to do. And that's what your angels do as well. You've had all kinds of things that you've taught us about water and trees and
Yeah.
just all the running love energy. And I can't even remember all of them, but so I said that I know this, but like, do you do all of those things every day? What are some things that you have incorporated into your day? What are your daily spiritual practices, or not even daily, regular?
Yeah. And no, I don't do all of them every day.
Yeah.
Not by a long shot. But I do try to do at least the ones that sort of speak to me, that are easy or joyful or, you know, fit into my life in a way. So one of those is definitely the water. Like I have a glass of water right here. It's got lemon juice in it, which is why it's cloudy. But yeah, so and I do infuse that with love. And and I know I've been over to your place and you have your jar of love water in the fridge. And so yeah, I just that's one of like my staples, you know.
Yeah.
I'm I always do that. I'm drinking water and I always infuse it with love. So that's definitely one of them. There was one in one of my videos where they talked about um, having the intention to move forward in your spiritual journey. So the
Mm.
mantra was, I intend to move forward on my spiritual journey today. That's actually on a sticky on my mirror in the bathroom and has been since I channeled that message.
Wow.
And it's also on a sticky beside my bed.
Okay.
So, and you know about, blindness to these things,
Yes.
because we've talked about that before. So sometimes I'm completely blind to the one in the morning and in the bathroom mirror, like it's there. But then I'll see the one when I go to bed at night because it's right beside
Ah.
my bed. And so as I'm getting ready for bed, I'll see that one. So I kind of have it in two different places, and
Strategic.
usually I'll do it once a day, either in the morning or at night, and I go, oops.
Yeah.
And so and I've even heard my son reading it, and I've heard my husband reading it
No
because in the
way.
bathroom. Yes. Like kind of jokingly, like I'll be in there brushing my teeth with my husband and he'll look over at me and he'll read it to me.
Still,
Exactly. I'm like, okay.
that's amazing.
So yeah.
Cool.
Um, Another one that I try to use is this was early in Lady of the Forest. This was one of the first one, like within the first couple of months. Um, they gave a message about our hemoglobin and how our hemoglobin, I remembered it because it was like so specific and scientific. It was like, this is really bizarre. But yeah, they talked about how our hemoglobin delivers oxygen to all of our cells.
Mhm.
And so they can carry messages. And so it was a manifestation one. So if you speak out loud to your hemoglobin and ask it as you're breathing in the oxygen, okay, hemoglobin, you're going to carry this manifestation message, this whatever it is that I want to create in my life, and you're going to bring that to all my cell, every single cell in your body.
Oh my God, how did I forget about this one? I'm so into manifestation. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, that was early on because that was actually a message that I received before I did Lady of the Forest. And it was something that I used that actually gave me the courage to start the channel to begin
No
with.
way.
Yeah, and I can tell you exactly where I was when I filmed that or recorded that filmed.
I
When I
know.
recorded that message in the forest, I know exactly the white pine that I was standing with when I talked about that. And I shared that that method gave me the courage to step up to this because, and I said, if I hadn't been doing that, like there's no way you could have yelled at me all day long in that parking lot, and I
That's
would have just
hilarious.
said, nope. Yeah. So Colleen is the one who kicked me
Yeah,
from
backstory.
behind
Now we need a
to get me to start a TikTok
backstory.
channel.
Yeah.
And
I
yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. You could have pushed and
Oh,
prodded all day long, and it never would have happened. But I was doing this manifestation method, and what I was manifesting was the courage. Oh, I know what was it? To step into my highest potential. That's what it was.
right.
I would like to step into my highest potential. And so I was using that breathing method and
The hemoglobin method.
yeah, and sending the message along. Now, I'm not positive if I had the hemoglobin information, but there was definitely a breath information that I had
Okay.
received prior.
Yep.
I was using that method. I can't remember now if it was the whole thing or if it was part of it, but it definitely, I know that it helped because I
Well,
would,
look where it's gone since then.
yes.
That channel started because now you've got your Patreon and your, just all the things that you do that
Yeah.
came from that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Cool. Interesting. I love that. So
So yeah, so I do
is
that
that
one.
something you've used ongoing or
Yeah. Oh yeah. I use it to try to but I can't think of like another example where I've manifested. There have been, just I
yeah, yeah.
can't think of them right now. Well, another one was finding my dad
Yeah, yeah.
a place to rent close by. So my dad lived in Toronto, my mom passed, and I wanted him to move closer to me because I'm 4.5 hours away from Toronto. And so yeah, I used a lot of that and letting go because during that process I was really invested and hanging on with some desperation to
I
try to
remember.
manifest that, which, doesn't work.
No.
So yeah, just doing some of the breathing and then asking the trees to help. So that is another one of the tips and tricks that my angels have given us is that the trees themselves, like they are a very pure form of love energy on earth, and
Mhm.
they love it when we ask them for help. So because there's something, and I can't remember if they gave any details about it, but there's definitely like this symbiotic relationship that when we ask them for help and they're able to help us, somehow it helps them too. It's like this back and forth because that's how
Yeah,
love
yeah,
energy
yeah.
works, right? When you give, you also receive. So when they have the opportunity to give and help us, they also receive. And
Yes.
so yeah, it's beautiful and they love it. So go into the forest and ask the trees for help.
Well,
They
that
can help
goes with
us
the
with
karma thing too.
manifestation.
Sorry, I remember that. Sorry about that. The karma thing was with the trees was back and forth as well, right? Like when they
Yes.
help us clear karma, it was like oxygen and carbon.
Yep, carbon dioxide.
Yeah, like that exchange. There's
Yep.
an exchange when they help us clear our karma as well. So also in manifestation, then they get something out of it as
Yes.
well.
Yeah,
Cool.
so they can help us with manifestation. They can help us, like you said, to clear karma. They can help us with healing, like anything. They can help you with anything. And they can give you messages. Sit with the tree, hold on to it somehow, lean with your back against it, and ask it for information. They have lots of information.
Well, you
So
read a
that
book. No, go
that
ahead.
is something that I do all the time. Like I
Yeah.
am a lady of the forest. So like that's how I became Lady of the Forest is because of my connection with angels, which is what I or with trees, which is what I think you were just getting to was that book.
Yep.
So yeah, in 2020 when we were all at home and I was going through a lot of my own sort of karmic explosions, um, I found this book, If Trees Could Talk, and it changed my life. I already had a relationship with trees to begin with, but this took that relationship and just blew it up. So it drove me into the forest, and yeah, developed an incredible relationship with my tree friends.
Mhm.
So that is something that I use all the time. If I'm feeling bad, if I'm overwhelmed, if I just need some help, I need to calm down. Yeah, like that's my instant go-to is okay, go out for a walk, be with the trees, and bring everything back into balance.
Which I actually picked up for I was already knew that I liked being out in nature and stuff. But I didn't read that book. Like lots of books we've both read, but I
Yeah.
just never did. I was dealing with other stuff in 2020. And didn't read it, but picked up a bunch of that info from you, right? Because
Yeah.
now I know why I've liked and why I've going to the
Yeah.
forest and why I feel better when I'm in the forest. And then from your videos and the messages from your angels and stuff you told me from the book, I too talk to the trees when I go out to the forest. And from your videos, it's leaning against a tree or
Yeah.
to like if I've got a lot of stress going on or something, or I'm worried about something or whatever. There was a video you did about kind of like give it to the tree.
Yeah.
You lean
Yeah.
against it and just give it to them. And I actually, there was comments on that. We talked about that on our channel and some people commented about that we kind of like we shouldn't be doing that. Like I'm abusing the tree, but I don't think so. We seem to have there's this symbiosis happening, right?
Yes.
The tree is taking that from me, but it's also taking good stuff from me. I'm giving it good stuff too. So anyway, I'm
Exactly.
fully aware of that now when I'm in the forest, because of all that from that book. Do you happen to remember the name of the book?
It's If Trees Could Talk.
Oh,
Um,
sorry. Maybe you already said that.
yeah. I can't remember the author.
I'll put it
Yeah.
in the description.
Holly Wharton, I think might be
Oh,
her.
there you go. Okay, perfect.
But yeah, I highly recommend that book. It's great.
So then, well, you've alluded to it, but when times are tough, then either because just stuff for you personally is going on, we have tough days, or this ramped up business that's been going on with you of looking after everybody else.
Yes.
When stress is high, or when you're not feeling well, or whatever, what's your go-to?
So nature walks
Yeah.
is my biggest relief from all of that. But I would say that the other big one is just having that bigger picture in my mind. So, when we're living our lives and things aren't going as smoothly as we would like,
Hmm.
because when everything is roses and lollipops, it's easy to be spiritual. It's easy to just traipse along, la la la, life is great. It's when the going gets tough. That's when the work is done, right?
Mhm.
That's what we're here to do. So having that bigger picture, understanding, any past life sort of energies around it. And I don't mean having to know specifically what's going on right now, but just understanding because I have other experiences where I am aware of the past life influences. When something else is happening, I can kind of go, okay, there's something going on here. And I don't know what it is, but I'm having a reaction to this, which clearly means to me that there's something happening. It's bringing up something.
Mhm.
So just understanding that whether that's something from this lifetime currently, or it's past life, or it's both of those things. Trying to take that step back and become the observer and, respond rather than react and all of those things from a place of love. Like, okay, this is happening for a reason. And even though it may be instigated by others in my life, I'm here because this is mine. I'm
Mhm.
having this reaction because this is in me. This energy is in me. If if this energy wasn't in me, chaos could be happening around me and it wouldn't affect me. The
Yes.
only reason it's affecting me is because it's inside of me. So to look at those others and put the blame on them doesn't give me any power. That actually takes all of my power away.
Mhm.
It's only when I understand that this reaction is mine, I have full power. And working on just feeling it, because we can't bypass it. That's the whole point too. This whole healing process is about feeling it.
Mhm.
So feeling those energies and looking for the light, purposefully bringing joy into my life, which is what going out into nature and going for a walk does, Um, watching a funny movie, having a bath with candle, like whatever it is that brings you joy. So just sort of having that balance between, yes, I'm going to feel this and I'm going to dig deep and try to get at the roots of this and get it out of my energy
Mhm.
while understanding that it's mine and I have full control over that, and seeking out joy and joyful experiences and bringing in as much love energy as I can to help that process, to ease it a little bit and help it to happen a bit faster.
Yep.
So that is something like that is my life. Like that's how I aim or aspire to experience everything in my life.
Yes. And it's a wisdom for me too. Like it's come with age and experience for me and like spiritual experience, like just going through this awakening journey.
Yeah.
To be able to just to even do that and not, I'm stepping back, that's what I'm doing, and to look through that big lens and not get all caught in it and instead try and observe it. And that doesn't mean I don't get caught in it
Oh, exactly.
for a bit before I go, oh wait, oh yeah, wait, there's something going on here.
Yes.
But do you think, like you do past life readings as
Yep.
part of your suite of things that you do? Um, do you think that you always have to know what it is? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I mean, people do find that it's quite helpful if they
sure.
do sort of have an understanding. But no, you don't have to go get a past life reading. You don't have to have a past life regression. You don't have to do any of that. And you're powerful. So you can actually ask for that information on your own and
Yes.
see what comes, see what happens. And you don't have to know any of it. All you
Mhm.
have to know, recognize is that you're having what we've called a disproportionate emotional reaction.
Yep.
And so if you notice that you're having an emotional reaction like that to something, probably because there's something that's happened in the past that has, you know,
Made
given
a
you this
scar.
type of, yeah, some kind of scar or unbalanced energy within you, and that's what you're reacting to.
Yep.
And so just being gentle with yourself is the biggest thing, because I find that when people do find out what the past life connection is, that's the biggest thing that it does, is it just gives them compassion
Yep.
for the people around them that are triggering them and for themselves in this situation. So if you can just get to that point without having to understand all the details, just understand that your higher self would be compassionate for the people around you and for yourself, and go from there. Like
Right.
that's where the healing is.
Yep.
It's in
Because
experiencing those emotions with compassion and love for others and yourself.
yeah.
And of course, you have to do things in your life because we still live in this sort of 3D world. We live in this karmic experience. So yeah, if there's something you have to do to make, boundaries you have to set or whatever it is that you have to do in your life so that you can avoid something like this, but avoid from a good place, you know what I mean? Not avoid as in I'm not going to go there, I'm not going to heal this, but like to make sure that you move in on your highest path forward.
Yes.
Then yeah, like you put those boundaries in place, you take the actions that you need to do, but from a place of love and compassion rather than revenge and anger and
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because I'm not discounting getting past life readings either, and I've had them. Well, you've given them to me. um, but and some the past lives that I've been told about by your angels, it does factor into some things that have happened or some reactions that I've gotten caught up in that. And but also I've had, like, what have I had? Is it thousands of past lives, hundreds of thousands? Who knows, right? And so there's I couldn't possibly get a reading done for every time I
yeah,
have a disproportional emotional reaction. So
exactly.
just having it as a skill in itself of just, you know, working through it. We've had a couple things just in the last couple years that we told each other about where we just worked through it without knowing what it was, right?
Yes.
But good point. That's a really good, actually, when I asked you, like, what are some of the things you do? You've named some that I've forgotten that you do, or that I've forgotten that I do, you know? It's
Exactly.
all good advice and good reminders. And
Well, and that's the thing, like we've talked about this before, that our spiritual journey has been, 30 years and longer. And so I remember when our kids were young and we were trying to walk this path and walk the talk, that we would literally forget about it for months.
oh,
Like
yeah.
6 months would go by and we hadn't consciously recognized that we were triggered by anything.
Yeah. Because we're busy doing life. Like, just do,
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
Whereas now, like it's every day, like it's there. It's what I aspired to have in my life 20, 30 years ago. Now I do live that way. Like now I am. It still occasionally, like the example that I gave with trying to move my dad here and I ended up getting hanging on too tight with desperation. That took me a couple of weeks to realize that I was doing that.
Yeah.
That wasn't an instant recognition. It was after a couple of weeks that I was like, whoa, okay, whoa. I need to let go of this
Yeah.
and I let go. But, you know, a couple of weeks is better than 6 months blowing by and I'm unaware. So this
And
is a journey and we are progressing and things are speeding up, definitely.
yes, for sure. And a couple of weeks isn't that much in the, like, compared to like my entire up till I was about 25, spending that whole thing unaware, of what, so a couple of weeks of being in it, and then
Yes.
you remember it. And the thing is, though, that like then when you let go of it, it's not like you found the apartment the next week. Or
Oh, no.
not the apartment, the house for your dad the
It was a
next week.
year later.
Yeah. But you had a year of peace, you know?
Exactly. I
Like,
let go of it and I was like, okay, yeah, I trust this is going to happen. And it was perfect. When it did happen, it would have made things more difficult with the other responsibilities that I had if I had moved my dad up here a year before.
ah, oh yeah.
So it actually worked out to be the best thing
Yeah,
that
yeah.
he was there for another year. It was easier on me in the long run.
Of course it did.
Yes. So that's what I mean. Like when you realize that you're in this and you're having this emotional response, stepping back, having compassion for those around you, having compassion and gentleness for yourself, and the faith or belief or understanding or mantra that this is unfolding in your best interest.
That's a really good reminder because I just had a talk with Big Bertha today about something that I'm impatient about wanting to happen. And that's, and sometimes like now that I sort of, anyway, channel when Big Bertha's talking to me, like she's been talking to me for years, but just
Yeah.
since I started channeling her, it is a little different now when she's
Yeah.
talking to me. When I'm asking her questions, it's a little more like an interview. And that's it. She basically told me was I need to just let it unfold. It's something that I want right now, or I just want to know how it's going to turn out.
Yes.
And she was like, "Yeah, no, you got to just let it unfold, And
Yeah.
I didn't want. That's not what I wanted to hear, so I discounted it. Like
Yeah.
it just drove it home that that really was Big Bertha saying that to me. Fine, because
Yes.
I didn't when you don't want to hear the guidance.
Yep.
You can just discount it, which is another thing I want to ask. I've talked in my videos about how I say good morning to Big Bertha and my spirit team every morning, and just kind of thank them, whatever I do. I walk out on my balcony if it's nice out. Whatever I do, I somehow thank them or involve them in my day or invite them in. It's different every day. But not necessarily getting messages because, well, and then I'm going to work very shortly after too. So I'm just kind of
Yeah.
get on with my day. Do you get a message for yourself every day from your like what's your routine with that?
No.
Okay.
When I first started, like when I was first learning the pendulum, I was driven and I would spend like an hour every day practicing and practicing and practicing. And just it brought me so much joy in
Oh,
getting it. And I had to. So yeah, like back then I did. But now, no. Now I feel it. I know when they're calling me.
yeah.
They come into my awareness And
Wow, like give me
it's
more.
so hard for me to explain because it's not like you get it back here. For me, it's not like that. I just did this hand motion and it's kind of like that. It's like I feel them all around me. It's just this awareness that comes into my mind and I'm like, oh, okay. And so when they come into my awareness like that, I know that they have something to say. And sometimes I'll kind of discount it too, like, oh, whatever, like you say, I'm busy, I'm doing stuff or whatever. But they'll like it'll keep coming. But it's never like never knocks me over or anything like that, but it'll come into my awareness. And I've had the same thing happen with with other people that have come. So my mom has come and I have like a little crystal angel that I got shortly after my mom passed. And so when I notice that crystal angel, because it's in my living room, and when I find my attention drawn to it, I know she has a message for
Here's a
me.
message. And do
And
you
that even happened with my sister, because my sister passed in 2016, and she doesn't come very often and talk to me. But the first time that she did come, it was funny because she had my sister, she was a city girl, right? She lived in Toronto. She was a city girl through and through. But my parents had a trailer north of Toronto, and she would go to the trailer. But of course, like where I live, if I had to walk around, like I would literally just have picks stuck to my body everywhere all spring. If I wanted to shoo away mosquitoes the way she did. But
oh,
so
I
when
get
she would
it.
go to the
Okay.
trailer, she would have those
Picks.
coil, those
It's
pick
like
coils, the
nobody,
mosquito
there's
coils.
people who aren't going to know what picks are.
I know. I would have mosquito coils taped to my body. So she would have mosquito coils, like she would literally sit around the campfire and have like 5 mosquito coils
Oh my
around her.
God,
Oh
that's
yeah.
hilarious.
And so the first time that that I knew that she had a message for me, I saw there were 3 references to mosquito coils.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so there was like one reference to mosquito coils, and I was like, okay, that's weird. Because like I said, it's not something like I don't do mosquito coils. And then there was another one, and then like and by the third one, I was like, okay, this is my sister. Like I know this is my sister. And lo and behold, when I came to my pendulum, she had a message. So yeah.
So then, so when your angels beckon you, when your mom beckoned you, when your sister beckoned you, then you had to go to your pendulum, like stop what you're doing, go to your pendulum to get the message.
Yeah.
But do you ever get guidance up until before now when you have started doing the live
Oh
channeling?
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they
Oh yeah.
must just talk to you.
I'll get knowings. I'll get like a whole download. Things like that happen all the time.
Okay.
But when I want to get like that clear
Yeah.
message, then I come to my
Go
pendulum.
with the pendulum, but
Yeah.
maybe not so much now. Are you still?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you only did this a couple days ago, I guess. The side
Yeah.
channel.
But it is something I've been able to do. Like you said, I've been able to channel like that for a long time.
Yes.
I prefer using my pendulum.
Yes.
And so it's been a long process.
But they're like weaning you.
Yes.
So I wonder if they're gonna, in your personal messages too, I'm curious to see if they're gonna be like, no, 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 no.
Well, they've told me that for the readings that I do, I don't do readings publicly right now. Um, but yeah, that I'll be able to use my pendulum for that for a
Yeah,
while to come yet.
because I'm gonna get that in the comments too now that I mentioned it, so we might as well talk about it. So your Lady of the Forest is coming back on YouTube and TikTok.
I haven't posted on TikTok and I'm not, I don't,
I got you. It's okay. We're on YouTube.
yeah, I know. I didn't like I was kind of pulling away from it even then.
Yeah,
And so now that it's kind of closed there, like I don't think I'm gonna go back to
yeah,
TikTok.
yeah, yeah. They'll find you on YouTube anyway.
Exactly.
Okay, so your Lady of the Forest is coming back on YouTube. And I mentioned your Patreon, so people are going to be like, "Where's her Patreon? How do I get on her Patreon?" Is that your Patreon has been closed? Am I right?
Yes. So my initial sort of push or guided intuition around creating a Patreon was around creating like a community. And so I've done that, and we have a lovely community. And then in the fall, when all this got closed, I also intuitively knew that I was closing Patreon too. So I closed that community. So because we've kind of created a family there, and having new
Well,
people coming in all the time changes the energy constantly. And
yeah.
so that is now closed. However, when I got this first message to share, I also felt like I needed to create, it's also complicated because of the way Patreon works. I'm not going to get into all that, but to create another sort of opportunity for people to join Patreon, but they're not part of that community.
Yep.
What will be shared on Patreon is the information that I've received so far is that I will get a few messages to share on Patreon. And
Or
so,
to open up, not just for the
yes,
we'll call
so
it the
they will be
closed community.
available if new people want to come because they want to receive
Yep.
other messages, that will be something that they're able to. But I'm not like, because I do gathering, like Zoom gatherings and
Yeah.
stuff, but that's not open anymore. That is all closed.
Got it. So there'll be a
Um,
new tier in your Patreon that
yeah,
people will be able to join because right now they can't join your Patreon. So they will be able to join and you'll do some messages through there that are only for Patreon.
yeah, and so it's called Love and Light, that tier, and yeah,
Aw,
it'll be,
very
you
nice.
can receive whatever. And I don't know how frequent these messages are going to be. I don't really know anything about it. I just know
Yeah.
that there will be some messages that come through for Patreon and some that come through for YouTube.
And no readings right now while things are still ramped up for you. Am I right? You're
Yeah.
not doing readings, yeah. Answering all the comments in advance.
Yes.
But she's on her way back. So hopefully maybe, because I've had you ask in the comments on both channels how to book a reading with Cindy. So you can't right now.
Yeah.
But you can maybe join this new Patreon level and see some more messages from her.
Yeah.
So anything else that you want to tell us about that's new with you or that you do every day when you're walking the talk or
The only other thing that was coming to my mind throughout this whole thing is just about discernment. And this comes up a lot when I'm like, when I haven't held a workshop in a long time, but when I do pendulum workshops, but with anybody that's channeling, and I'm sure you've experienced this too, that anywhere along on your spiritual journey, like it's, you always give yourself the last word. So, we talked about these channels being spiritually led and all of that, but it doesn't mean I just blindly do anything I I'm sort of receiving, right? No. I have said no to many things. Now, some of those things I have then come around and done later,
Mhm.
and some of those things it was a hard no. Um, so yeah, like just never defer that much of yourself to whoever it is that you're talking to, your higher self, your guides, your angels. I don't, it doesn't matter. Always run it through your own heart energy and make your own decision.
Yeah,
And that is what will steer you along on your highest path.
yeah,
Because yeah, just that's your safest way to go about things. To say, oh, I received this message and so I have to do this thing. No, no, you don't.
yeah. You
If
gotta
it's not feeling right, you don't.
yeah. And I just talked in was it my last video? Anyway, a recent video about how it will come back around for you too. Like
Exactly.
whatever it is, everything comes back around. You
Yes.
get another opportunity. There are no missed opportunities.
Yeah.
Like it just, oh yeah, it was the last video. There's no fails. It just comes back around and you can say no again.
Exactly.
It's just that the next time it comes around, you might be different and more open to it, or it'll come around a little differently. So you never have to worry if you're
Exactly.
doing the wrong thing or whatever. And
Yes.
and that's also goes with like we talk about giving away your power, like looking outside of yourself for things, and because I was
Yes.
talking about getting readings and now we're talking about, following guidance or getting, it could be in a reading too that you get this guidance to,
Mhm.
sell everything and move 3 provinces over. And if you want to do that, like do it.
Exactly.
Uh, but the power needs to it all needs to come from within. There's
Yeah.
people sometimes in my comments that are asking me to ask Big Bertha things, and I haven't really gotten a real Q&A relationship with Big Bertha, like for public, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I will, but sometimes that's what I think is like you might need to get your own guidance on that
Yeah.
and look within, sort
And
of.
then even when you get your own guidance,
You got
you
to use your,
still make your own decision. And
yeah,
like you said, there are no, like the opportunity is not lost. And it will come around again. And then even if it does, so they, using this example of my pendulum. So they've been telling me for years that I don't need to use my pendulum anymore.
yeah,
And I know that.
and you're using it.
But I say, no, I'm using my pendulum because that's what I want to do. And so, but now, I am moving more in that direction, and there will be a day when I don't use my pendulum, and it will have been years since I've used it. Now, I could look back on this and say, oh, I could have gotten rid of my pendulum 7 years ago. But
But
no,
fail.
sometimes you need to hear it for 7 years before you're ready to do it.
Yep.
And and your angels know that. And so they'll start giving you the message 7 years before they ever expect or want you to, or that it's your best thing to do,
Yep.
is take that advice because they know that you need to hear this for 7 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But you
looking
see,
back and saying, oh, I missed that opportunity. I should know. They know, and you'll receive a message well before you're ready to do that thing. And if it is something that is right with you, you will one day take those steps and do it.
yeah. But you see how they keep bringing it back around for you. And then they also add a little more enticement, like the change with your phone and that you were saying, like to,
Exactly.
and the speeding up of the channeling that you're like, I don't want to write these cards, you know,
Exactly, exactly.
they
And
like,
they're not belittling me. They're not making fun. Like, it's not this negative energy. It's
no,
always in love. When they come to me with these opportunities, it's always presented in love.
yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so
Good point. Discernment.
yes, it's huge. And it's something that I know a lot of people don't understand, especially when they're getting their own messages from their own guides. They sometimes feel like they have to do everything they think.
Yeah.
No. From my experience, like my guides and angels over the years purposefully asked me to do things or guided me in a certain direction to show me that no, sometimes the answer is no,
Oh,
because they don't tell you. They don't they don't teach us through telling us. They teach us through experience. So if they're going to teach you to use your own discernment, they're going to give you stuff to use your own discernment around.
ah. So they're going to give you some examples where you don't use it so that
Yeah,
you'll learn, like, oh, I should have listened to my.
exactly.
Interesting.
Yes. So, and that has been not only my journey, but I've seen that happen in so many people who are also sort of, getting their own guidance and on their own journeys.
Yeah.
It's they teach through experience.
Hmm.
So learning to use, it's like that old saying, right? If you asked God for patience and he gave you things to be patient about. You ask God for discernment and he will give you things to discern about.
Yeah. Interesting. Hmm. Very cool. So, did you want to get a message for us?
Oh yeah,
I'm sure,
I forgot all about it.
I'm sure the viewers would be happy to, if your angels or any other beings of light would like to join us to do a message.
Okay. Um,
But they
so
told us, go.
just now, like my attention went to my candle, and so I'm going to light my candle
Yes,
because my attention went there.
for sure. I have the chat open. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try typing, but you're probably gonna see me give it up, and I'll just have to remember what they said. But I don't think it's gonna be an hour-long channel like
No,
when we're doing out of this world videos.
no.
I'm excited.
And I don't have to tilt the camera down. Okay. Okay. We are excited too. This is a monumental moment, not only for Cindy in channeling this way, it is also monumental in Earth's history. The energy streaming to Earth at this time is a very pure love energy. It is the love energy that Jesus brought into Earth's energy with his birth. However, the portal of love closed shortly after Jesus' birth. This energy is now streaming to Earth once again, and this portal will open fully soon, and it will remain open. So the energy on Earth is increasing in intensity and in purity with every passing moment. This is an opportunity like no other ever experienced on Earth. This is an opportunity that indeed will not disappear. This is an opportunity in infinite proportions that will always be available in growing intensity. So this is an opportunity in your life. The opportunity for manifesting and living your highest path forward and living your dream life is real and increasing. This is just the beginning. And you have an opportunity right now. This opportunity is to begin playing. Begin playing with this creation energy that is streaming to Earth. You will appreciate the practice you have at this time while the energy is lightly streaming to Earth. This may seem counterintuitive. You may feel like you would rather have this energy streaming fully into Earth's energy in order to practice and understand this energy. However, this energy streaming lightly allows you time to experience the manifestations and feel what it feels like to attract something into your life. This is like following a yarn that is slowly moving across your field of vision. As the yarn slowly moves, you are able to track its movement and understand its movement and study its movement. When the yarn moves at full speed ahead, you will barely see it flash across your vision. And that is not as easy to study as it is when it is crawling past your field of vision. So use this time now to practice and have fun. Be joyful in your creations. Be joyful in your heart and create from your heart's desire. This will be a most favorite time to reminisce about when you are fully awake and aware. This will be your favorite time to remember and communicate with others about. This will be the most talked about phase of your awakening journey. You're done. Wow.
Oh my God, that was so beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
I had two things going on because the message I couldn't type. So I had to just, I'm like, okay, you got to pay attention. Got to pay attention. But also, I was watching you. Oh my God, I can't wait for you to watch this back, right, folks? Like, look at that beautiful. Oh my God. Just the way it's flowing through you. Sorry, excuse me while I effervesce for a minute. Wow. Like, I can.
And I'm freaking hot.
Oh, I thought maybe I was gonna cry. Like it was right on the like there was so much joy that I thought I was just gonna go over the edge into tears of joy, because you just wow, Cindy. Okay, so that aside, now the message, because I've got we're gonna have a 2-hour video here, and
I know.
I said when I asked if you wanted to be on the channel that I promise I try not to have videos that are longer than a half hour on my
Yes.
channel. But here we are, folks. So, if you've made it to now. But oh my God, that's so amazing. All about the manifestation, like.
Yeah.
But what they're saying about this, the portal opening, like, are they like, is it the Pele portal?
Yes.
No?
Yes. But they've said all along that this energy is trickling in ahead of her conception. And then between the conception and birth, it will come in a lot more. And then with the birth, it's like fully open.
Okay. So it doesn't mean that she's been conceived. It's
No,
just the beginning of that.
exactly.
But
But like they say, every day, every moment is how they like to say it. It's increasing. Like it's increasing and increasing.
yeah.
So, yeah.
And I talked about that on your Patreon gathering. So I feel like we've already talked about it, but I haven't on my channel. But like I've been feeling this increase, these waves of joy come through me. I've been telling you about it. And I've been thinking that it's also, and it still could also be, but what your angels talked about us individually as we're going through our awakening, reaching a point where we're flowing an incredible amount of, as we
Yeah.
clear more karma. And I do know that I've gone through a couple of things recently that I have cleared some karma. We then flow more love energy, like more and more and more and more and more. And so I think these waves might have something to do with that. But it must be this as well. Like I can feel it. It comes just in like all of a sudden I'm just like, oh, I can just feel really happy and full of joy and this love energy flowing through me. So when they talked, when was that your angels? They didn't identify themselves, but I
Yeah.
imagine, yeah.
Yeah.
When they talked at the beginning about it's here, right? Like the portal has opened again, the same portal that I did get at the very beginning. It's the energy that Jesus brought when he was born, but then that portal closed and now it's opening again.
Yes. And it will stay open this time.
I can feel that. Like I'm sure there's other people maybe going to bring it in the comments. Do you feel it too? Do you get these waves of joy? Have you been getting any of that, Cindy?
I don't get them out of nowhere like that, but I'm definitely feeling it when I'm channeling. Like that intensity
Oh
has
yeah.
changed.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Like there's none of that on the out of this world. Like not like that.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
No, it does, and I feel it. I feel it build. It. I feel like I'm like with a symphony, like at an orchestra, and
Yes.
like it builds to a crescendo.
And we can feel it coming out of you. Like I'm glad I'm on Zoom here with you because I'm not, you know what I mean? Like I spend time with you in person and I can understand feeling it when you're in person, but I can feel it
Yes.
over Zoom, you know?
Yeah.
It's wild. But then like playing in it, okay, I'm down for that. But I love that whole analogy.
I know. Well, and the string.
I
It's like the
know.
string moving. Like you can study how it's moving, what makes it move faster, what makes it move slower, what makes it turn in this direction, all that. Like versus like, what happened?
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking like a cat too, like reaching, trying to catch it, as it's going by, and then
Yes.
playing with it, sort of.
My
Yeah.
goodness. Yeah, that was really cool.
And
And
so
that's what I said
there's,
after the message that I just posted on Lady of the Forest too. After the message came through, it was just like that joy, like that. I was just like, oh my God, that's so much fun. Like it is, it's so much fun.
yeah.
I'm so nervous. Like you said, oh, I'm excited. And in my mind, I was like, I'm so nervous. But then when I'm done, it's just like I'm beaming. I'm full of joy. Like it's,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm impressed. I'm glad you can talk. So you've been doing this longer. After I channel Big Bertha, after those videos where I've been doing channeling Big Bertha, like I haven't been able to talk after yet.
Yes.
Because I'm just too, hers is different. It's happy and everything, but it's not joy, it's love. And so
Yeah.
it's like, so I'm glad you can talk after, but I can feel it like you're even more buoyed
Oh
up,
yeah.
you know what I mean,
Yeah,
than you were in the first part of this video.
definitely.
And playing with it, like, so that can be like, so they're saying, I think they're saying try manifesting things, like,
Yeah.
and it could be little things, right? Like you can
Yep.
play with it with parking spots or,
Yep.
how do you do that? But with smaller things as well as like, hey, I'll be hitting for some of the big things too.
And
Thanks.
it can be concrete things and
I-
abstract things,
oh
like
yeah.
creating the confidence to do something in your life, to
Yes.
whatever, like yeah, it could be anything.
Yeah, I've talked about that in my channel. It's not always like I go to material things when we're talking here because it's easier to talk about or
Yes.
material things or situate like a parking spot
Yeah.
situations or, you know,
And they're
more
easier to
money
see when they
and
manifest.
a nice cabin for my summer vacation. And, sure, I'd love to have a house with a fire pit and like all that. But there's also situations and life circumstances and relationships and all kinds of things that we can manifest, right? That aren't,
Yes.
it's not all
Now,
material.
if they're still karmically entangled, we can't control the karma. We can't manifest our way out of karma, but that's leaving more and more all the time. And so there's less of that limiting what we can do.
And that's why you should keep taking a kick at the can
Yes.
because last time you tried to manifest something, you still may have been caught in karma that had to do with that. And
Yeah.
maybe since then you've cleared that karma. So, like, try it again. Why
Yeah.
not? Maybe now you can manifest it,
Exactly. Yep.
I just thought of that and I'm probably saying it to myself. Interesting. Well,
Very
thank you
cool.
so much for the message.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on your channel.
I'm just going to ask because I always ask. They don't have anything else to say. Are they done?
They're done. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll have to do this again sometime.
Definitely.
But I think we'll wrap it up for now. So you can all like say hi to Cindy in the comments and and let us know what you thought. Our community is so great in the comments. I don't
Oh
know if
yeah.
you've been seeing that. Oh yeah, and they're all like sending each other love and all kinds of things. So want you to know that I'm still reading all of your comments, even if I don't get a chance to respond to all of them. But thank you so much for your enthusiasm and your love and for posting about Cindy to prompt me to bring her here onto the channel as my guest. Thanks very much for joining me, Cindy.
You're welcome. And thank you all for listening. And thank you for having me here, Colleen. And I hope you have a great day.
See you soon.